Welcome to a short video just chatting about a gentleman who we used to make suits for, a very famous gentleman by the name of George Best. I just thought I would throw up a quick video just chatting about making some suits for this wonderful gentleman who is one of the best football players ever to grace the planet. Obviously he's a very, very famous guy. Obviously nowadays some of the younger people may not have heard of him, but certainly in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even into the 90s, he's very well known for his footballing skills while he was at Manchester United, and then following on he had time I think at Fulham, and he did have a bit of time over in America as well, playing over there, which some of the ex-players from England did at that time of an era. Obviously he's more known for some of his antics that he got to, his drinking and whatnot, but I don't really want to touch on that at all. I just wanted to talk about how we came to make suits for him. So basically, my father James Pendlebury, he obviously he's the gentleman, he's the one who set up the business. So obviously in the 70s and 80s, he got pallet with a gentleman called Mike Somerby, who you may have heard of, who played for Manchester City. It was during the same era when George Best was playing for Manchester United, and Dennis Law and all those amazing players. So you had Mike Somerby, Colin Bell, Franny Lee playing for City, and then obviously United you had, we just mentioned. So basically, and in them days there was no animosity between the players. From what Mike said to me, he said they all used to, they'd play at the weekend, play on a Saturday, and then they'd all meet up in one of the bars in town, one of the clubs or one of the bars in Manchester, and they'd all get along really, really well. There was no animosity between the players at all. Even on like Derby Day, they'd get stuck into business on the football field, but then afterwards they were just pals straight after it, and they'd be out drinking together and getting up to what they were up to of an evening. So from my dad, getting back to that, backtracking a bit. So my dad got friends with Mike Somerby through, after Mike finished football, he decided to become a shirt maker. So he was pals with another guy who's well known. There's two other shirt makers in Manchester that era. There's Frank Rostron that's still going today. Frank's very well known. I think he had a bit of a business deal with Frank at one point where he would obviously he was using him to make the shirts, or they had some sort of a deal where they were working together. Maybe Mike was getting the orders and Frank was making them. I don't know the full ins and outs of it. And then the other gentleman was a guy called David Williams, and David Williams, he's still actually trading today. He's a bit older now, he's like in his 70s now. David's still trading down in Salford. He's got tailors down there. They do shirts and suits, and and he was working with David for quite a while. So basically, Mike would he had lots of contacts in TV world, people like Dennis Waterman, who used to be in Minder. He was a big actor back in the day, in the 80s and into the 90s. The gentleman who actually played Arthur Daly, his name George, or is it George? Sorry, forget his name now. The gentleman who played Arthur Daly anyway. And a lot of celebrities, you can imagine being in that football world, he knew lots of celebrities, lots of footballers, lots of ex-footballers who'd retired. So he had a thing in with quite a few of the golfers as well, through his connections through the sporting world. So basically, Mike would do shirts, and then when he was going to see people to do shirts, he would invite my dad down to come with him and do suits at the same time. So it worked out beneficial for both of them. The customer was getting exactly what he wanted. He was getting shirts that he wanted made to measure shirts, and he was getting bespoke handmade suits made from my father. So it worked out really well. And then in them days they used to go to London quite a bit, so they'd go to like London once a month and they'd do fittings down there and then go visit people together. So obviously when you're with somebody so often, you do get pally with them, and they go for drinks in the evening, and go for meals out and stuff like that, and and now and again when they're in Manchester, they go out with their wives and whatnot and go to dinners and stuff like that. So they've become really good friends in, like, I'd say more in the late 70s, say probably into the more into the 80s. That's when they started to get pally after Mike had retired from football and he was concentrating on doing the shirts. So, and then from that, obviously Mike was really good mates with George Best. George Best was his best man at his wedding, at Mike's wedding, and then they did have a boutique as well. At some point, I'll just clip a quick picture in so you can see the boutique that they had. That was on Bridge Street in Manchester. They had a clothes boutique. They used to do suits and stuff, and I think they did do some like jumpers, shirts, more casual attire as well. It wasn't just suits that they did. But that was a successful business they'd had for some years, and then I think obviously that closed down after a bit. Something happened with that. I'm not too sure, but from this they had a good relationship, Mike and George, and then obviously from that then my dad ended up making suits for George Best. That was more getting into the late 80s into the 90s now when he started making some suits for him, and then so he made suits. He made a few suits for him back then, and then he developed his he had the illness that he had with his I think it was his liver or his kidneys, and then he had his operation. And then basically what had happened is he'd lost loads and loads of weight. He did obviously from drinking and not playing football. He did get a little bit bigger. But then after his operation, he dropped a lot of weight. And from us chatting to him, he said he was joking, saying he was back down to his playing weight, which I think was probably, I'm guessing, in the 11 stone area from how slight he was when we did suits from when I remember dealing with him in the 90s. I think maybe 12 stone max, something like that. So we got him back in because obviously all his suits didn't fit. So we did him some new suits. At that point as well, because he was getting back on track with things, he started doing more sportsmen's dinners and that type of thing. So obviously he did need, and he started going to some of the sports awards dinners he was invited to. He started going to them again, and then from that obviously he needed some suits making. So we made him some wonderful suits. We made him about 5 or 6 suits in total. Just nice dark charcoal grey, nice navy suit, one of the very fine pinstripe, and then we made him a beautiful dinner suit. And it was George's idea. We'd not done one like that at the time. It looked absolutely fantastic. So he wanted something different than just a plain black tuxedo, not tuxedo, dinner suit. He wanted just the black suit with the black satin lapels. He wanted something different. So he had a chat with my dad. This was at the Midland Hotel in Manchester when they were chatting about this. My dad went and met him down there on this occasion, and they were chatting about doing something different. And then he said, I had one like this back in the day, James. Ah, right, okay, what was it? I had maroon satin on the lapels with a black body for the suit, for the jacket and the trousers. But the maroon satin lapel just broke it up a bit and just made it look a bit more unique. So that's how it become about, and I'll clip a quick picture in for you to see that. It's a fantastic suit that we made for him, and it looked absolutely superb. And he did go to one, I think it was the BBC Sportsman's, the Personality Award. He went to that, and he did go to a few award dinners. And it's if you do Google it, George Best dinner suit, I'm sure it will come up probably on Google somewhere. But he's a fantastic suit. What a gentleman. So my story of meeting him, actually physically in my era of being here, I came here to work here full time in 1999. I left high school and I came straight here after it to work for my father. And then one day, just out of the blue, I knew he'd done suits for George in the past, and he mentioned in passing that we were going to be doing some work for him again. And he just they used to go down. My dad used to go in there, and George used to go in there. There used to be a small restaurant down on King Street called Harper's, and Harper's restaurant is a very well known restaurant. And in the day, way before San Carlo and all them, and Restaurant Bar and Grill and Panacea and all them type of places. Harper's was the restaurant to go to. That was the place where everyone went to. If you were a footballer, ex-footballer, or a man about town, or a bit of a celebrity or whatever, people would go in there. Everyone who was someone would go into Harper's. I remember him telling me one day, my father couldn't get in there because the whole of Real Madrid football team had took it over. No joke. This was when it was like Ronaldo, Zidane, all them lot, Roberto Carlos, them days. They took the whole place over for one time. My dad couldn't get in because the whole Real Madrid football team had booked it out. So yeah, stories, tailoring stories, funny stuff. So I'll get to the George Best story. So my dad one day just said to me, Michael, George is down at Harper's, can you go get him for us? He's never been to the shop. He's always just met him either at his house, so he's met him at the Midland Hotel. So it was like, well, yeah, of course I'll go get him. I don't mind going down at all. So off I go down there. I'm like 16, 17-year-old young Mike. I go, moves down King Street. I'm like, wow, this is just a bit weird. I'd seen George in there a few times before, and we'd said hello to him, but nothing more than just niceties and saying hello. So this time, I go down there, we get into Harper's, and like Eugenio and Felix used to run the place. He's Mr. Bestin. He's Mr. Bestin. Yeah, he's just round there. So, I'm Mr. Yeah, no, Michael. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, sit down. Don't worry. I'm just finishing up. So he's just finishing up his lunch, and he's with his beautiful wife, Alex Best, who he's with. And they said, sit down. Do you want anything? Do you want a sandwich? Do you want something? So in the end, I ended up literally sat down with I think I might have had a glass of wine. I can't remember now. It seems a bit surreal now thinking back on it. It was quite a while ago. Sitting down, me, George Best, Alex Best, and I'm sat there having a sandwich with him, waiting for him to finish his lunch off, to take him back up to the shop. So basically, so we finish up, boom, yeah, and then we come back up King Street, and like literally walking up King Street, me, George Best, Alex Best, and like heads are going, like obviously, this is way before people had like cameras for selfies and stuff. I mean, it must be horrendous being a celebrity nowadays. You must get completely hounded all the time for selfies all the time. But people, are looking like, and like, this is a bit weird. This is a bit surreal. Like I'm walking up King Street with George Best. This is funny. Anyway, so we came up, and then we come around the corner. We come up the stairs, and then in them days I wasn't dealing. I didn't look like this. I was just like in a shirt and jeans or something. I wasn't like smartly attired at all. I did. At that age, I wasn't dealing with customers like one-to-one doing suits and stuff like that. I was just, milling about doing alterations and doing, running around, shall we say, for my dad and whatnot. I wasn't involved as I am nowadays. So he came in, and obviously they went through another suit order. But what a story, and he was just an absolute, really nice gent. He's a very nice, fairly quiet man. But he just had a lovely way about him. He was always asking how we were doing when we seen him, how we doing, how's the family doing. He always had a lovely way about him. And then another time when we went to visit him, he was doing he was staying at the Marriott Hotel, and my dad had to go and drop a suit off for him. One of the suits that we finished for him. He was doing some awards dinner or something, sportsman's dinner. So we had to go down to the Marriott Hotel, which is in Worsley, which is not far from where I live at the minute. So we went down there to go drop off his suit, and same again. It's just sometimes it does feel a bit weird when you're with somebody who's like that. Who's such a famous guy and has such a presence about him, and being such a young age as well. I'd never ever met anyone as famous as that, and obviously knowing how much of an icon he was in football. I was very I'm very into my football, and to meet someone like that who's such a sporting legend, it was a bit odd, especially when you're such a young age, when you're like 16, 17, it's a bit hard to take in. But same again, it was literally like, we came in, yeah, do you want a cup of tea? Yeah, everyone's like, Alex, yeah, what are you up to today, what we're doing? I mean, my dad was going out for, driving the car and having lunch or something we were doing. I think it was a Sunday from memory, and same again, just being in the presence of somebody like that and having a cup of tea with George Best was just, just an amazing experience to behold, and it's something, you know, memories like that you will you treasure for in your memory bank of life, meeting people like that, and I do appreciate that, you know, people like, you know, people from all walks of life come to us, and I think it's amazing. It's one of them joyful things in work that we get to meet different people from all different walks of life, different jobs, some famous, some not so famous, but all, you know, characters in their own right, and just listening to people's different stories and stuff, and it was just amazing. And I remember when we were chatting with George at the time, the weekend later, me and my dad were having a weekend in Blackpool, and don't ask me why we're going to Blackpool, because I know it's not the best place in the world, but my dad just come up with this. Come on, we'll have a lads' weekend away at Blackpool. I think we went for 3 nights. I think we did a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and we stayed in this hotel. It was a nice hotel. It was on the front, and we went up there. My dad had an MGB Roadster at the time, so it was a topless. It was a convertible car, an old one from the 80s. So I remember we went up there, and we're like, yeah, this is great. And I remember telling George about the story. Sorry, when we were going up there, and then George was telling us a story about how his father really liked to go to Blackpool as well, and he said often he said he'd find his dad was up in Blackpool having a weekend there and stuff. So it's just funny just chatting about all these funny stories about Blackpool and whatnot. It was just so surreal. But yeah, so we did some wonderful stuff for Georgia, and it was a very nice period that time when I can remember doing work for him, and it is so sad that he passed away at a fairly young age. It's a sad thing, and then my father passed away when he was 72. So which isn't much nowadays, considering you know, for people nowadays, you tend to think of everyone living till at least into their 80s and stuff. So, you know, it is sad when people die so young, but yeah, when they pass away. But yeah, I thought I'd leave it there. Just thought I'd post it up. I thought, you know, the George Best story was an interesting one. My point of view from meeting him, and my dad's, obviously, you know, his story from doing suits for him for over the years. It was an on and off thing. You'd see him make a few suits for him, then he wouldn't see him for a while, and then he'd see him again. So, but back into the 90s when I met him. I think it was like 99, 2000. When I met him, yeah, he was a superb gent, and I'll always treasure the memories from meeting him and chatting with him. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I thought this has been informative. I thought I'd mix it up a little bit on the channel, and just stop talking about suit fabrics all the time. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Yeah, thank you very much.